Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beaded crochet beanie or skull cap, just hat, whatever you will. So I'm going to use a 6mm hook. This yarn, I'm not sure what it's called. I bought it without a label. It is pretty fine. I think here's the comparison of how it looks in the hook. It's a bit fine, I guess. I could probably get away with using a 4mm hook on it, but I want the stitches to be a little more gappy. And then I'm going to use this sewing scissors and these beads that I have to make the beaded part. That I'm also going to be using a stitch marker, and that with the beads, this is the kind of pattern that I'm going to do. So 2 of the little ones and then a big one and then 2 of the little ones. So I would just suggest figuring out what pattern you want to do and making sure that you have enough beads for it, but this is mine. So to get started, I'm going to make a slip knot. So I wrap the yarn twice around my fingers. There's kind of an X on the underside. I go under the first one, over, grab it, pull through, twist, and then just pull on the loose ends. And that makes your slip knot. Get it tight. I'm going to chain 6. So grab the yarn, pull through. That's a chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to slip stitch back into the first stitch in the chain and just pull through both loops continuously. And then from here, we're going to crochet into the circle in the middle of the 6. So make sure not to go into any of the individual stitches, but go in the middle of the circle here. There it is. Okay. So we're gonna chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this counts as a double crochet and then a chain 3. And then we're gonna double crochet back into the middle of the circle that we made. So we have kind of like a circle and then a little triangle piece on top of it. So from here, we are going to chain 3, 2, 3, and double crochet back into the center of the circle. So we have now 2 of those little sections on top of the circle, and we ultimately are going to want 6. So chain 3 again, 2, 3, and double crochet back into the center of the circle. 1, 2, 3. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna do one more like this. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet back into the center of the circle. And then for the last one, the 6th, we're just gonna chain 3. And we are going to make a slip stitch into the 3rd stitch of the chain where we initially chained 6. So you're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then make a slip stitch into this stitch. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna go in here. And just do a slip stitch to secure it. And that's your first row. So this is how it should look. You have the circle where we started, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little sections coming out of it. Now to start the next row, we are going to chain 1 and go into each one of these sections with a cluster that's going to be shaped ultimately like kind of a triangle. So to do that, we're going to do 1 half double crochet. So to do a half double crochet, you yarn over, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your chain, and then you're gonna, or 3 loops on your hook, and then you're gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 at the same time, like that. So we're gonna do half double crochet and then double crochet. So you yarn over, pull through, go through 2, yarn over again, go through 2. Now we're gonna do a treble crochet. So yarn over twice, pull through, and then go through 2 at a time. So pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's why it's called a triple or a treble. I'm not sure. I get confused between the US and UK terms, but basically triple sounds like at least, and you're doing it 3 times. So it kind of makes sense. Back down to a double. So yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then a half double where you yarn over, pull through all 3 at once. So you can see it kind of has gone half double, double, triple, double, half double. So it goes up and then down. And then to secure that, we're just gonna do a single crochet in this space here. So single, and then we're just gonna repeat that in each of the sections. So half double crochet, double crochet, treble or triple, I genuinely don't know, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, double again, and then half double, pull through all 3 at the same time. And then again, we're just gonna look for this space that kind of yeah, it should look like this. It's like connecting maybe the last of the chain 3s from the previous row to the double crochet. So you're just gonna find that one and then go in it and do a single crochet. So this is kind of how it should start to look. And when you're done with this round, you should have like a 6-pointed star, or at least like something that looks like a flower if they don't look super triangular yet. And yeah, we'll meet up when we're done with this round. Okay, so I've done 5 clusters, and now all that's left to do is going to be the 6th. So we'll do it together. I just did my single crochet in that little stitch that connects the last chain 3 from the previous row to the double crochet. So I'm just going to do a half double crochet, double crochet, treble. Kind of like that it sounds like trouble. Okay, wait, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then double again, and half double. Okay, so here's how it should look when it's done. We are going to fasten this off with a slip stitch. I'm gonna do a slip stitch in this stitch. So that is I believe the stitch of the single crochet of that we did when pretty much the first stitch that we did of this. It was a chain 1, not a single crochet. But I'm gonna do a slip stitch all the way up, and our goal is to get up to the point or the treble crochet stitch of this next top of the cluster, because that's where we're gonna start the next row. So just slip stitch on up there. Okay, next is this one. And Is this? Okay, so we're there. Maybe that was the half double crochet that I started in, but it's okay. If you feel like you don't know exactly the stitch I'm working in, the one next to it's always the next best one. I mean, I think you can probably make a lot of little mistakes and have your piece end up coming out just the same, or maybe even a little better than mine. So don't stress too much if you feel like maybe you don't see exactly the stitch I'm going into. If it really matters, I'll make a bigger deal of it. But we are going to, this is going to set us up for an increase round. So we are going to make similar sections to the ones that we made here on top of each cluster, and then we're going to connect them to the next cluster, which will create another section. So we're going to start off chaining 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, this is a double crochet and then a chain 3. So then you're going to double crochet back into the same stitch, the top of the cluster. And then we are going to chain 3, 2, 3, and double crochet into the next treble crochet stitch. So far what you have is going to look like this. It looks like a little triangle section on top of the cluster, and then a connection of chain 3 to the next one and a double crochet. So now we're just going to chain 3 and double crochet back into that same stitch where you initially, or where you just put a double crochet. So chain 3, and then yarn over, go back into the same stitch and pull through 2, pull through 2. So now we have a section on top of this one. We have to connect it to this one. So we're going to do another chain 3, double crochet into the top of this cluster. If you can tell, I'm super nervous while I'm talking and doing this. I'm very new to making these types of videos, and I really just want them to be informative and helpful, because when I was learning crochet during COVID, like 4 years ago now, I pretty much learned entirely on YouTube, and these types of videos were really helpful. Not so much to learn how to make the stitches, but more so just to like learn what I could do with the basic stitches. And I think making things that I liked and that I thought were really cool and that I actually wanted to wear or make for my friends just made me love crochet and kind of discover like a new art form or hobby in my life. So we're just doing the same thing where it's a chain 3 to get to the top of the next cluster, and then double crochet, chain 3, double crochet back into that same stitch. So yeah, if there's something that's not clear or that you're not getting or that I maybe glazed over that I shouldn't have, please just leave a comment and I will definitely clarify, or even make like a little clarifying video if it's that intense. Okay, so double crochet, chain 3, double crochet back into the same stitch, chain 3 to connect us, 2, 3, double crochet into the top. Get more yarn. Okay. We want to double crochet into the top of this triangle now, so yarn over and find that treble crochet stitch. It's also hard to pay attention to what the camera is picking up on when I'm kind of just looking at the work in person. I'm not looking at it through the camera. Maybe I should look at it through the camera. Okay, chain 3, double crochet back in, chain 3 to connect us to the next cluster, and we are back at the first one that we made. So kind of like we did 2 rounds ago, you're just gonna find the third chain on the chain 6 that we made, or the third stitch. So 1, 2, or here, 1, 2, 3, and just slip stitch into that third one. There you go. Okay, so now this, when this round is done, it should look like this kind of flower or star with a circle going around it. It might want to pucker up a bit. That's fine. It'll flatten out again when we put the clusters in them. And now we are going to make those clusters. So I am going to start with a chain 1 and then go into each one of these. So the ones on top of the clusters that we previously made and the ones connecting them, and just put a cluster in each one. So when I say cluster, I mean the half double crochet, treble, double, half double sequence that we were doing that kind of makes that triangular shape. So half double, double, triple, double, half double, pull through all, and then again we're just going to find that same stitch that exists from the previous row, that's kind of like hanging there connecting. It's pretty easy to find, and then just do a single crochet in it. So this is how it should look so far. We're gonna meet back up when we are filling in this one. So we are now at the point where we just have one more cluster to put in this space. So we're gonna do that. So half double crochet, double crochet, treble, double crochet, and a half double. Okay. And then we're gonna do we're gonna skip the single crochet stitch for the last one, and then go into this first stitch in the next cluster and put a slip stitch. And again, we're just gonna slip stitch up till you get to the stitch of the treble crochet. Okay. And then we're gonna repeat the row before the last one. So where we did the little sections on top of each cluster, and then the chain 3 to connect each one. So the first one is gonna be chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then double crochet back into the top of that same stitch that you just came out of. So it should look like this. And then we are going to chain 3, put a double crochet into the top of the next treble crochet stitch of the next cluster. So double crochet, and then from here we chain 3 and do a double crochet back into that same space. And again, chain 3, double crochet into the next space, or the next cluster top stitch, which would be the treble crochet. Once you're there, chain 3, double crochet back into that same stitch. Okay, so I nearly finished this round. I'm just going to do the last 3 sections, I guess. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect it to the top of this last cluster with a double crochet. And then I'm gonna chain 3. And then I am going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of this chain 6 that we made. So 1, 2, 3, and it's going in there. Okay, slip stitch, perfect. Don't worry if this looks stretched out, it'll correct itself in time. So the point of making the triangles on top of, or the sections on top of the triangle cluster was because we were increasing. So we were making the, what will be the hat, go outward, the place that's going to go on top of your head. So from now on, we are going to stop increasing. If you want yours to be bigger still, if you're a bigger headed individual, I'll show you how to do that as well. But if not, then what we're going to do to stop increasing is, actually what we're going to do before that is add the stitch marker, because from now on, it's all going to kind of start looking the same. So I'm just going to add the stitch marker in the last chain 3 that I made, so that I know when I get back there that we're going to start a new round. When I get back here, it's time for a new round. Okay, so what you're going to do is slip stitch into this space here, and then you're going to chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and you are going to put a single crochet in here, or in the next space, and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet in the next space. So the next few rows are going to be like this. They're going to be relatively easier, and if you want to keep increasing, then what you're going to do is just do a chain 4 and put a single crochet in the same space that we just came out of. So it's going to kind of look like that, where there's 2 coming out of the 1, and then there's going to be 1 chain coming out of the first section, and then 2 coming out of the next section. So you're going to chain 4 again and put 1 in the next section, chain 4, and put, if you're not increasing again, you're going to put 1 in here. If you are increasing again, you're going to put 2 in here, kind of like we did over here. So if you are increasing, you're going to put single crochet, chain 4, and single crochet back in here, and then keep going with the 1, 2, 1, 2 if you are increasing. If you're not increasing, just do chain 4 and single crochet, chain 4, single crochet into each consecutive section. If you are increasing, do chain 4, single crochet twice into every other section and just once into every other section. So I'm not going to increase anymore. So I'm going to delete what I did and just do 1 in each. Okay. So I'm just going to go around and put 1 chain 4, single crochet in each section. So 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet in the next section. 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet in the next section. And I know it might look small, but it kind of doesn't start to cup in after a couple rows of doing this. So that's why I chose to stop increasing when I did. Also, if you want to experiment, these next few rows are relatively quick and easy, so it's not going to be a huge pain for you if you realize you maybe should have done the other thing and to just go back and change it. Also, maybe you just like your hat looser. So there's a lot of room for variety here. Two, 3, 4. Okay, so now we're back almost to where the stitch marker is, and you're just gonna keep on doing the chain 4, single crochet into the next space. If you have been increasing the last round, then maybe consider stop increasing at this point. But again, it's up to you. You know best. I'm just gonna put a single crochet in here. Oops, okay, gonna avoid the stitch marker, put a single crochet. Okay, actually, I'm gonna take the stitch marker out. Put my single crochet and then put the stitch marker here, just so that I can keep track of where I'm stopping and starting. But you're pretty much just going to continue. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would say we're at row, if this is the foundation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're on row 7 now. 1. Okay, so we are just continuing doing chain 4 and then single crochet into every space. And I'll meet you back up when we're at the chain marker again. We reached the end of that round. Now for the next round, we're just gonna do the exact same thing that we've been doing the past 2 rounds. So we're chaining 4 and just putting a single crochet into the next stitch. And when this is done and you're wearing it and it's kind of stretched out, it's gonna have like a fishnet sort of pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then I think you got it from here. We'll just meet back up when we're back at the next stitch marker, and the next round we are gonna change it up a little bit. Okay, so now we are at the end of this row where we just did chain 4 and single crochet into the next spaces. I'm just going to finish it off by single crocheting into this last space, or sorry, second to last space. So chain 4 and single crochet right here where the chain marker is. And for this next row, I'm going to go ahead and just do the same exact thing that I did previously. So chain 4 and single crochet into each of the spaces. If you didn't increase around last row, I would just maybe tell you to consider stopping increasing at this point, but also it's up to you. You know what's best, but I'm just going to go around and do chain 4 and then single crochet into each space. And yeah, even without increasing, you can kind of see that the circle is still laying flat. It hasn't really begun to take the shape of a hat yet, but that's okay. In due time it will. And basically anytime that you're making a hat or even a bag that has like a round structure, you just find a way to make a circle that's increasing and then stop increasing when you want it to start taking the shape of a hat or like a bowl. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we will meet back up when we reach the stitch marker. At this point, the stitch marker is pretty much the only indication of having gone all the way around because they all just look the same at this point. So yeah, just meet back up when we reach the end of the round. Okay, now for this next row, I want the hat to kind of start curving in a little bit more to take more the shape of a hat. So what I'm gonna start doing is instead of chaining 4 and single crocheting into the next space, I'm gonna start chaining 3 and single crocheting to the next space, and that will definitely make it start closing in on itself a little bit more. I want to start finishing up with this fishnet pattern so that I can move on to the next parts of the hat, which is going to be the little beaded string part and then just the bottom border. So from this point on, I'm going to take one of these off and just do chain 1, 2, 3 and put it into the next space. Now you can determine if you feel like your hat is already curving in and you don't want to do that, that's fine. Or if you feel like maybe you want to do some chain 3, some chain 4s, you can kind of like mitigate how curved in it's going to be and you can just feel it out as you go. But I'm going to start doing chain 3, single crochet into the next space and see if I want to then switch it up and maybe add some chain 4s to kind of start flattening it out more. But yeah, we will meet up at the end of this round. Okay, so I just finished that round and it definitely did work to kind of curve the hat up a little bit. I tried it on and I decided that I want to do one more round of chain 3 and single crochet into the next space. So I'm gonna do chain 1. I think that was already on. So that's 2, 3, and then put it in this next space. 1, 2, 3, put it in this next space. 2, 3. Okay. So we will meet back up when we reach the end of this round and recalibrate there. Okay, so now I have this. You can see it's kind of curling under itself, which is good because that means it's shaped like a hat. And I tried it on and it's about as long as I want it to be for the top portion. So what I'm going to do next is pull some string, and then maybe not that much, but yeah. And then I'm going to cut it because we need to work on the bottom part of the hat next, and then do the middle with the beads that's going to be sewn in between them. So it's not a continuous thing, it's like two parts with the beads connecting it. So to do the next part, the bottom, I'm going to move this to the side and then do a slip knot. So do a circle around your fingers and then go under, over, pull through and twist, and then pull the two opposite ends. And I counted on here that I have 22 of these spaces, and I multiplied that by 4 because we did chain 3 and then the single crochet. So each space consists of 4 stitches. So 22 times 4 is 88. So I'm going to chain 88 to make the bottom border. And I know everyone hates counting chains like that, but just do it. Okay, so here we have 88, and I'm just gonna run it through my fingers to make sure that it's not gonna be twisted when I connect the sides. Just make sure all the stitches are facing you. And then put slip stitch back into the first chain one that you made. Okay. And move this out of the way. And then I hate working with just a normal chain like this, so I'm going to single crochet into every chain space. And this will also help make sure that the chain's not twisted around. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna start here, I guess. Here it is. So once you can find the first chain, there you go. Just do a single crochet and go around and do that in every single one. I'm trying to pull my hook through the back of each stitch. So if you can see, this is the stitches right side up and this is the back side. So I'm trying to go through the back and just do it in the top of each stitch, the top back. Okay, and just go like that until you finish the entire chain and have a nice thick little circle. Okay. Okay, so I did my chain 88 and then a single crochet in each of the chain spaces. So I'm just gonna keep making kind of like a bottom border for the hat And you can do what I do here, or you can just kind of freestyle your own way if you want to. But what I'm gonna do for the next row of the bottom of the hat is half double crochets, skipping each stitch. So I'll show you. I'm gonna do chain 2 to get it started. And then, or actually chain 3 because we're skipping the first stitch. So I'm gonna skip this first stitch and go into the next one. So yarn over, go into this next stitch, half double crochet, pull through all 3, and then I'm gonna chain 1 because we're always skipping a stitch. So I'm gonna go into this one next. And for this border, or like bottom of the hat portion, I'm kind of just freestyling like whatever I think would make it look kind of cool. So feel free to go your own way or do what you want. Okay. So I'm just gonna do that all around, and then I will meet you back up at the end of the round. Okay, so at this point I have the bottom border part with the chain 88, the single crochet in each chain, and then the half double crochet in every other stitch. And I went ahead and cut the yarn. I left a little bit extra at the end just to sew in later. And then you also have the top part of the hat, which is this. So what we're gonna do next is connect it using the beads and the string. So I have these beads, which are, I have smaller little rose quartz ones and bigger amethyst ones. These are from Etsy, from crystal bracelets that I had bought that erupted, and I just kept the beads for some future project. And I already went ahead and put the beads on the yarn in the pattern that I wanted. So each little segment is gonna have 2 rose quartz, 1 amethyst, and then 2 rose quartz, kind of like that. So it's not super long, and I probably will have to add more to the bottom of the hat to make it a decent length. But for now, this is what I have. And to get the beads onto the yarn, I use these. They're called floss picks. You can find them in like drugstores or pharmacies. It's basically what people with braces use to get the floss in between their braces, but it's also really good to get beads on yarn. So for example, some of them have yarn on them. But for example, I'll show you a demo with this end of yarn. So let's say I'm trying to get this amethyst onto this yarn. Obviously the hole, you can't even see it. It's like super microscopic, but I would just put it through the floss pick, which is super easy to do if I can find it. And then once that's there, I'll just take this, for example. Yeah, get your yarn like this, kind of through the hole of the floss pick, and then literally just like slide the bead through, and it comes on super easily like that. I don't actually need it there though, so I'm gonna take it off. But yeah, get these. They're super good for this type of project. Okay. Gonna move these out of the way, and since I already did that, so basically to have the beads just in a line like this, there really isn't a way that I found to do that while crocheting it into the project. So what I'm gonna do is cut each little section with an adequate amount of yarn. I'm going to cut one segment and keep some yarn on either end. So I would say maybe like 5 inches or something. And then the same on the other end. Okay, so you'll have segments like this. And so just organize your beads in whatever way that you want each little segment to look like. And then I did enough to have 8 beaded segments. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So I'm gonna cut more segments, kind of make them the same size. So okay, so I've gone ahead and attached the first string. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do that next. But first I decided that I just wanna weave in some of these loose ends just so that there's not so many where I'm trying to work. Because I worked this one in here, to give it symmetry, I'm just gonna flip it over and do my next one exactly opposite. So if this one's here, the next one's gonna be right here. So I just grab one of the sections and make sure that the beads are kind of centralized. And then put it on through the needle. Okay. And then I want to work in this stitch that connects them. Here. I feel like I chose a weird place. I'm gonna work in here. So it's like the connecting stitch of the 2 chain 3s that is opposite the beads that I just put in. And I'm gonna work the needle in from the outside so that the beads will fall like this when they do. So I'm just gonna do it, pull it through, and then pull it to where the beads begin, go back in through that exact same stitch, and don't let the loop close all the way that you're making. So we've gone in twice now. There's kind of this like loop, and then put the needle in through the loop to make a knot, and then pull it and make sure that the beads are as close to the work as possible. And then I'm just gonna do that same exact thing again to make it more secure. So go through the stitch, pull it through, not all the way, and go through this little loop that you just made, and then pull to make a knot. And then from there, I feel pretty good about it. So it came off. So from here, I'm just gonna start weaving this in, which you're doing also, you know, so it doesn't look like you have a loose end, but also for the security of the string that's holding the beads. So I kind of turn my work inward, so I'm weaving it into the back side of the hat, and I'm just finding different stitches to go through to hide it best that I can. Okay. Pull these up and then flip it right side in, get it back kind of shaped how it's supposed to be, and then find the appropriate area on the opposite end to also weave it in. So I got that. Make sure it matches up. And then you can just go into the opposite, or actually I'm gonna go in through the front because I feel like it makes the beads lay better when you do that. So I'm gonna go through this stitch that I found. Pull through and pull it all the way through till the beads are pushed up against the stitch. Hold everything in place. Go back into the same stitch with the needle. Okay, this kind of happened where I'm now dragging it up. That's fine. Hold the beads again, and then that loop is still going to be there. Just push it back up with your needle and pull the yarn through. And pull it to create a knot. And I'm just going to go do that again through the same stitch. So yarn through the stitch, keep the loop, pull the needle through the loop, and it creates kind of like a basic knot. And then just turn the work and weave the yarn through. So for the third and fourth of the bead segment, we're gonna, keeping with the symmetry, turn it to its side so that now what you have kind of looks like this. Move all of the spare yarn out of the way. And so now we're gonna do it here on this end and here on this end, exactly opposite from each other. So that way these are symmetrical and those are symmetrical, and then when we do the others, we'll do it diagonally. So for the next one, I'm gonna turn it this way so that we have 2 and 2. And the next ones are gonna go here and here. I think, yeah, and then I'm gonna do 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, so here is what we have. It kind of looks like a jellyfish. So we are going to make a slip knot. And then we are going to work with the work inside out. So I know this is inside out because there's little like yarns that I haven't woven through sticking out. And then we are going to insert our hook on the stitch above any of the beads here. So just, I'm going to put mine right here above this bead sequence, and I am going to make a slip stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to then insert my hook, move this out of the way, insert my hook right on the other side of that same bead sequence. So let me show you, it was right here, and now I'm just gonna jump over to put it right here. So it's like this now on the other side in the same stitch, or the same like space. And I'm going to slip stitch, and then I'm going to chain 8. Actually, I'm going to chain 7. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the middle, right between these two beads. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm not worried about being too precise here, but to me it looks like this is the middle. And slip stitch. Chain 7. And then place a slip stitch in the space right above where the beads are. Slip, and then jump over just to the other side of the beadwork and put another slip stitch. And that will kind of just make sure that the beads are in the middle of the V when this is done. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're gonna go back into the center here. Right about there. Get my yarn, slip stitch it, and 1, 2, 3. Find the next bead space, slip stitch, jump, and other slip stitch. So yeah, when I turn it over, you can see that the beads are in the middle of the V because there's one slip stitch on this side and then another on that side. So it kind of anchors them in the middle. And it's just like that for all of them. And it will be for this one when we're done. So I will meet you back up at the end. Okay, so I have my last little V to make, and it's gonna complete the first one here that I made on this end. So I am going to find the middle here, put a slip stitch, and then chain 7. And then I'm going to slip stitch back in the space where I initially chained here, And we already went into both sides here, so I don't have to worry about it looking wonky or anything like that. I'm just gonna find a place to put my hook. Let me see. I feel like this big space will work because we already did it on both sides. So I'm just gonna slip stitch there. And then I'm gonna chain, I usually chain 2 to like really secure it, and then pull out on my hook, press down on the knot that I made, and that makes it feel secure. But before I cut my yarn, just gonna make sure that everything looks good. Maybe try it on just to make sure there's nothing you want to change, and we will see. Okay, so I would definitely recommend trying it on always, no matter what you're making, before you cut the last yarn, just to make sure that there's nothing you didn't notice that you want to go back and change. I think mine looks fine, so I'm gonna cut this yarn and then just start sewing in my loose ends. So this is what the finished hat should look like laying flat. I've tied in my loose ends and it's ready to go. So I hope you've enjoyed that process, and I hope you'll like wearing this. Thank you for watching.